Hey everyone, so I just wanted to show a really quick demo on how to paint the eyes in Bambu Studio for multicolor printing. It's pretty easy, and there's a few tricks that you can use to kind of make it even easier. And it's a little bit different depending on the newer models versus some of the older ones that are made a little bit differently, so the newer ones are a little easier. So first I'll just show you on an older one like the leopard gecko, and eventually I may make my way back through all of them and add the newer features to make it easier just finding time. So the first thing I'll do is you can add more or remove filaments from your painting pool by clicking the plus and minus here, and you can assign colors to them, or you can pick your AMS slots, and then you just click on the model and click this color painting tool here, and you get a variety of tools. So the number 1 slot is the skin color. The number 2 slot would be the irises, the pupils, and then the white of the eyes. So let's see. The probably first thing I would do is grab the black for the pupil and kind of work my way from the inside out. And I'll use the fill tool, and the fill tool uses a edge detection and an angle in order to kind of autofill in a zone. And so if you move this angle down, it will narrow the area that will be painted based on the geometry. A trick for this is if you hold down Control and use your scroll wheel on your mouse and scroll up and down, that moves this slider for you, so you can kind of just find what highlights the right area for you, and then click it and it will autofill that. So might do that for the black, and then I'll do a white autofill for this. I'm just going to crank it so that it fills that whole rod. And oops, too much. Let me back control, scrolling down. Let's get there. And actually, I like to have this ledge here be white as well. So we got now the white and the black and the highlight. Now we'll grab the iris and fill that. Now the other trick is we don't really want this whole highlight to be white. So I'm going to go in here with the circle tool. This one here, it's just basically a brush. And I'll give it a small size. And let's see. Okay, then I'll kind of get a steep angle here. And what you want to do is kind of make a fence. So I'm going to select the black, and I'm going to fence in by drawing an outline right up to the edge there. So now there's this area of white that's completely surrounded by black, which means when you use the fill tool with a low enough angle, let's see here. I think we've got a little opening somewhere. Yep, right there. You want to make sure you've completely filled this so there's nowhere for any of the autofill to spill out. If you hold Control down while you left click over this, you can still move around and orbit around the model, even when your mouse is over the model. So Control click will let you move it around. Middle mouse will let you do that. So you can get in there and kind of get a better view. Scrolling here, using the scroll wheel to zoom in. Alright, so now we'll grab the black again and the fill tool, fill that in. And you'll see there's like a few little areas where there's little slivers of of color that aren't filled in right, if you go to this gap fill tool at the end, and you'll see as you scroll this up, it will look for those little missed spots. Oh, there's an edge here too that's still skin colored. So you want to push this to the right. You can basically almost go all the way to the right usually. And oops, hit apply, and now it's filled in those little holes. One thing you might want to do, and I do this on the later models, is make the iris go a little bit lower than this top edge here, and go around and make the iris move into the pupil a little bit further, just to get a thicker layer of color in the multicolor print. So you can kind of do that. Around there. So I might do something like that. So you do that on both sides, and that's painting the eyes on the older models. And now with the newer models, I've sort of sculpted in features that make this process easier. Basically, you'll see in here there's these little ledges built in, these sharp angle ledges, and that allows the fill bucket tool to do its job more easily. So I'll go to the fill bucket on black, and again control scroll down, and you'll now see it filled up right into that edge that I had modeled into there. And we'll grab that, and we'll grab that, and then that's too high of an angle, so we'll do again control scroll down, and there's the eye. So quite a bit quicker. Oops, we want to do this. Again, we got a little spot there. We could fill it, or we could grab the gap fill tool and apply that. And that's how that works. So yeah, that's the kind of basics of MMU painting in Bambu. Some of the other things you could try, I mean, if you wanted to go and say you wanted to paint the jaw white, I would grab the circle tool and the smallest brush and just trace the outline of what you want to be a certain color, and oops, maybe that's too small. So say you were doing this the whole way around, and then fill the inside, and that's kind of the easiest way to fill in areas. I have a pen stylus screen, so this makes drawing these lines a little easier because I'm using a pencil essentially. So, that's just kind of how you do it. You decide what areas you want to be a different color and draw the outline generally, and make sure that there's no gaps. So if I wanted to do all the way down here, I would drew it to there and then probably come through here. Might even do this all the way in here. Oh, this shows another thing. So if you have a hard time seeing a part of the model you want to paint, you can use this section view, and from whatever camera angle you're in, it will sort of cross-section cut out areas that then you can go in and paint, get a better angle to paint it. And that cross-section cut will stay the same at the same angle unless you reset the direction, and then it'll reset it to your new camera position. So you can kind of use that to get in here and I don't think I need that painted that color, but here we are. I think that's enough. Alright, so then now that we have this sort of fully fenced in section, and grab the fill tool again, crank up the smart fill angle, and then just fill it. And if you see an area that isn't quite right, you just use the brush to sort of paint it back to the original color, or the skin color, or whatever. And keep in mind, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, because the slice will kind of lose a lot of the really fine brush detail. I like to do a test slice and check how it looks like it's going to build those layers, but you don't have to be super meticulous with the lines, but I tend to anyways. Anywho, so that's the kind of basic MMU painting. I hope that was helpful.